Howdy.
What's up?
Oh, what are you trying over there?
Keeping things very relaxed and chill.
Oh,
I'm chill. I'm fun.
that's good.
I'm cool as a cucumber.
I'm warm.
I'm freezing actually.
No, I'm actually freezing.
I
This
am
room.
dying right now.
Well,
Welcome to Desk Pop.
welcome to Desk Pop.
Welcome to Desk Pop.
Today on Desk Pop, we're talking about Marvel's San Diego Comic-Con announcements and giving a brief synopsis of Spider-Man Far From Home.
My name is Andy,
And I'm Brian.
and of course you're you, and this is Desk Pop.
And of course, this is your you.
You're you, and this
Desk
is
Pop.
Desk Pop. But what I want to know is, where's the caveman?
Where's the caveman?
Yeah, so then that's when I told them, either you keep the child, or you give me
The parent.
the parent. I get the child or the oh hey
Oh, hey.
didn't see you there. It's great to talk at you again
Hey, yeah, it is.
for the 10th time.
Unless you just listen to these episodes over and over again,
Yeah.
which is totally possible.
I'd love to meet someone who knows a full episode and could just recite all the lines to one full episode.
I think I had a nightmare like that.
They basically have a 1-hour conversation just scripted and memorized.
And I probably would not remember anything that I said. So
I mean, that's what we do. We usually we write a script at the beginning. It's like Saturday Night Live. We'll have a script, and then we'll rehearse it, and then that's what we're doing right now. None of this is natural.
No.
These are all remembered lines.
Yeah, that's why I'm so good at it.
Sometimes Brian will forget a line, and then we'll have to start improving our way around it, and it really kind of throws things off.
Stupid Brian. So, Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I finally got my suit picked out for my sister's wedding, which has been a huge point of stress in my life. Got that figured out. I purchased the Rocket Lego set featuring Mercy. It's the Overwatch Lego set. And I now have the full Overwatch collection. However, I've learned that the $90 Mercy set, she has a misprinted gray face, and you can't fix it. So that's annoying. But anyways, yeah, so that's my life. So I'd say everything's at about 8 out of 10 right now, 80%. Certified fresh rating, Rotten Tomatoes.
That's good. That's positive.
But I also want to follow all that up with a question, which is, how are you, Brian?
Thank you for asking.
No problem.
I'm doing well. I recently saw Spider-Man. I have a lot to say about that later on. I finished up my mini D&D campaign, which was fun, a little three session thing. I am ready for trivia tonight, and that's about it for me.
Yeah. We're recording on a Monday.
A Monday instead of a Sunday.
Which is new. This is a new it's a new experience.
Yep.
Nice change of pace. I'm energized. I'm excited.
Synergized.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm I'm the embodiment of the skydiver teamwork motivational poster right now. I'm just ready to work together to really make everyone's day fantastic.
I'm the sloth hanging on a tree that says hang in there. That's it.
Yeah, that's just a completely unrelated note to what I was saying. Like, you were going to say that regardless of if I've made that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're just two posters on the wall next to each other.
I think that'd be kind of cool. To be a motivational. People would some people would be upset that you're there because it's very generic, and then other people would look at you.
Oh, and yours is so original.
Yeah.
Oh, people would be so impressed because that's such an original concept.
My dad has been in he's worked in 3 separate office spaces, and he's purchased 3 separate posters. That is the Teamwork Skydivers poster. And we give him so much shit every time we see it. and it's really funny. But that if that's what drives him, good for him.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because he owns what, like 3 skydiving businesses.
Soon to be 8. He's buying them all
Oh,
up.
franchising.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the key is to do the Coca-Cola thing where you buy a bunch of smaller businesses, but you keep that brand name, so it looks like you're all competing, but in reality, it's like Coke owns them all.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I found that Coke owned Pepsi. Did you know that?
You're kidding.
I'm not.
You're not kidding?
I am kidding.
Okay, I was like, those are the two people. Like, either Coke owns everything or Pepsi. It's like the. Where's the Shane Dawson video on that?
But really, like, I mean, yeah, I don't. They
it's
all
weird
make
that
so
I chose
much money.
Coca-Cola instead of Disney.
Yeah.
I guess Disney
really truly owns everything.
Yeah.
What is the competitor to Disney? There's not one sole entity that competes with everything that Disney does.
Yeah, I was about to say Warner Brothers, but then you said that, and then I was like, nope. Yeah, because it's kind of weird. It's almost like both their competitors work together.
Right.
Universal has a theme park, and Warner Brothers puts all their stuff in that theme park.
Yep.
Yeah, that's weird. Interesting.
Speaking of Shane Dawson, did you see that he came out with a new video this past weekend?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I watched it.
How was it?
I hate Shane Dawson. I have nothing against him personally. I just don't like, just
I have everything against him.
I just want to cover my bases in the off chance that,
he listens to this.
Yeah, Shane Dawson.
Hey, Shane. How you doing?
Shane Dawson could hear. He's one of our 9 listeners.
Yeah.
Shane Dawson.
Yeah.
His video edit, like, the videos are always edited in such a way, it's like it's catered to annoy me. Like, they set the scene, they talk about who Shane's gonna talk about. The correspondent, like the therapist that he always talks to, I hate her. I have no problem saying I hate her. I don't like her at all.
Jeez, yeah.
I think all of her advice and everything is just not helpful, and it could just be inferenced without consulting her.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that really annoyed me the most was, so they're talking about her, then he does all this B-roll of him getting ready to go see her, and then he's in the car to go see her, and then next thing you know, it's like 4 minutes have passed, and he's still in the fucking car on the way there, and it's just like, why am I watching this? He's supposed to be talking to I'm learning nothing. And I was screaming at the TV as I was
screaming.
Yeah, Dana wanted to watch it with me for some reason. I'm not good at containing my criticisms and quotations on his videos, but yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I do like him. Like, I think he's very funny, and I like the people that he's surrounded with, and I like most of their videos. But overall, you and I have had a talk about this. I am like super against conspiracy theories and conspiracy theory culture and spreading that around because it's it just, I feel like it does so much harm because
it's a gateway to Alex Jones.
I mean,
gateway drug.
It's not a direct thing, but yeah, over time you kind of, oh, it's just a fun thing, and then it kind of turns into like, well, what if, or like, what, that other things could be, when it's in reality it's just someone typically being ignorant of like the truth and feeling like they have to know something, they have to have some special knowledge. Because
I hate how sometimes there is more than what you see, but other times there's not, and I hate people who are like, well, you don't know.
Well, just because there's
there
a
could just
mystery
be more that you don't know about.
Right. Just because there's information you don't know doesn't mean it's something wild. I mean, Occam's razor is the simplest explanation is typically the correct one. Mm-hmm. It is interesting to note, though, that this video is not a conspiracy theory video.
Yeah. Most of his later or his recent ones have been more like exposés.
They're kind of about they're kind of like biography pieces or autobiography.
Yeah, I guess
style.
exposé was the wrong word.
No, I get what you're saying. I think that's still it's framed in that way of like, we're getting to the truth of the matter, and we're gonna find the hard truth on this person, and it's not really that. It's more of kind of this one especially, it was on Eugenia Cooney, who is a girl on YouTube who had a very severe, I believe, eating disorder, and she would post videos that weren't about that at all. She was
She
very
was just
positive.
a vlogger slash
Yeah,
cosplayer.
she was just very positive, very, nice, but people, there was a lot of very strong reactions to her just existing, because they felt as if or most of the YouTube community felt as if her existence, her posting videos, was like, quote, glamorizing an eating condition.
Yeah, even though she never talked about it really.
She never talked about it. I mean, she did. I think there is an argument somewhat there for, like, yeah, she did need to get help, but just her existence, she's not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? That's not fair to demonize her in that way. But it goes into all that. It talks about that history, and then it also says that I kind of like watched it in the background, so I didn't like pay super close attention. But she did go to like a rehab facility, and like she did start to eat a lot more, and so now she's a little bit healthier of a weight. And this video was her emergence back onto the internet scene via Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
So
that's the one thing I do appreciate about Shane Dawson is he will, because I mean, I think a lot of the YouTubers that he covers already have audiences, but they're very, it's their audience. It's not mainstream. They found their audience and they kind of gravitate in that one little area, and it gets these smaller groups, or I don't want to say it's a lot of people, but everyone knows about it now.
right.
And I think that's kind of cool that it's normalizing. Internet culture is breaking through to more people, because I think Shane Dawson's one of the people who aren't on YouTube a whole lot, they probably watch Shane Dawson.
Right.
He's like one of the,
He's
it's
one
like
of
name
the,
brand YouTube. Front
right.
Of
Him and like Jenna Marbles and like a couple other people who were there when YouTube like was first created. They are just like the what would you call that?
if you walked into a grocery store, they're the produce section. They're right there,
Yeah,
right in the front.
yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
everyone probably hits that aisle every trip they go. No one's skipping the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So besides that,
Compare them all to like.
compare them all to produce. So I think that's, unless there's anything else you want to say about that.
About that?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I didn't really talk about the content of the video, but there's nothing that I can really think of.
Yeah,
I
it's
just-
about 45 minutes.
The thing that stuck out the most was just he was in the car for so long.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like Shane Dawson. Those are my two. I'll leave those 2 points there. There you go.
That's fair. I mean, you don't have to like everyone, and
I'll still watch his videos just because almost everybody I know likes his videos. So
yeah.
yeah.
I think
And I might be pleasantly surprised in the future. Who knows?
I kind of something. There's this like charm factor there that I like a lot. Is that he kind of was the original, like, kind of self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Like there's this big trend in self-deprecating humor, especially for like our generation. But I think he was kind of on the forefront of that as well, like making fun of yourself, putting yourself down, and in a way that's like,
I was
it's
hurting
a
myself
joke.
before. It was cool.
Yeah.
For comedy, for entertainment purposes.
But yeah, so
Nice.
I don't know. I think, yeah, it's totally.
And my only frame of reference for him is I've seen I've seen all of his Jake Paul videos. I
didn't care for those.
I watched another thing that he did. I forgot what it was.
Did you see the Chuck E. Cheese one?
Yeah.
That one was like funny to me.
I saw Jake Paul. I saw the
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese one, and that's not. I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy. That's just true.
I mean, there were people who did confirm that, like, at certain restaurants they worked at, that was a practice that happened.
That's just
so I mean,
true.
yeah. I mean,
I don't
obviously,
wanna
it's not
rope it
corporate
in.
policy.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's where the disconnect was, where people were arguing. But yeah,
I saw something else that he did, and then I saw this. So my exposure to him is fairly recent. So if he's done something that's like really nice and before any of that, then I haven't seen it. So my view for him is pretty skewed in that way. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
But what else? Semi, topic change here, but we've entered. I think we've kind of been here for a while, but I want to go ahead and officially say that we are in the era of gender swapped protagonists. Like, this is it.
Are you
They've
saying this
announced
because
that,
of Marvel's announcements?
no,
Oh.
but that's also included. We're having our first female 007.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, it won't be obviously James Bond, but a new female agent will be taking the mantle of 007 in the next James Bond. So that's cool. I don't remember who it is. I recognize their face, but not the name. I don't think I've seen them in a lot of movies. So I'm kind of useless other than that headline. Didn't do as much research as I should have.
It's still cool to know, because I think that there was for a long period of time that was always like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously times change and things do change, but
I mean, I don't know I don't think I've ever been against that. I think people have always kind of said, "Oh, James Bond should be a man," and blah blah blah. And I don't know if I ever I don't think it was ever a thing that they were just gonna gender swap that character.
Right.
But having another agent, be 007, even if honestly, I don't think that they're going to make that a permanent change. I think it's going to happen for like an hour in the movie and it'll change back.
Jeez.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm fine either way. But if it's just going to take the 007 name, then who cares? Because Daniel Craig is still in it, so it's not like they're replacing anybody.
Interesting.
It's like a new character.
So do you think it'll be just like... Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me then. So is it just going to be him, like, gender swapped for a mission or something? Like... what do you mean? Because how is he in this universe, and then also there's a female 007?
I think what's going to happen is, I'm pretty sure, as with every James Bond movie, it's going to start off with him being like, "I'm retired, I'm done." Why did I make him Australian? He's like, "I'm retired." There we go. And
got him.
And then a new agent takes up the 007 name and is 007, and then something happens to where he has to come back in and do something, and then at the end he's probably going to leave and do his own thing, and then she's going to be the new 007. They're probably going to set this up as him passing the torch to a new person. Maybe. But also they're gender swapping Thor.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying gender swapping, because they're both these instances. It's not like they're changing genders. It's like the title of the big person is going to a female now.
I get what you mean by that.
Which is great. I'm fine with
Yeah.
I'm fine with either way, but I hate when people retcon things. I like when.
Yeah, I'm a female Ghostbusters purist.
Ghostbuster.
So I only like properties that take all men and change them into women. That's the only kind of property I'll support.
That has to be a Twitter channel somewhere. It's like
mine.
Their sole purpose to but Natalie Portman's gonna be take on Thor.
Yeah, Love and Thunder.
That logo looked awesome.
A lot of them looked very interesting. I saw in a graphic design Reddit that people were very upset with the Loki logo.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I was like, ooh.
And it looks bad. Hawkeye looked a little.
Yeah.
There's something to be desired there too.
It's not on the same playing field, and I think all these projects are at different points in their life cycle, and so the logos that we're seeing on the announcements that Marvel made at Comic-Con is not. I think someone was like, hey, the same thing happened with Thor Ragnarok. It was a different logo. It looked like Microsoft Word, like word art, and then they came out with the actual logo for the movie, and it looked much better. So
yeah, that's probably what's going on. But also, I heard that the Hawkeye logo was actually lifted directly from the latest Hawkeye comic run. Not that that's an excuse, because I think that the logo is bad regardless. But I did like what they did with the A. They made a little target.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I think overall it looked really, it had a cool aesthetic, but it just wasn't, it's not on par. You can't have like a 2D logo, like a flat 2D, two color logo competing with all these other logos that are like
yeah,
art. I mean, you know what I mean?
But Natalie Portman's gonna be Thor.
Yeah.
There was another thing that happened too. I think there was another. I forgot though.
I forgot, man. There's the new Charlie's Angels reboot. Did you see the commercial for that or the trailer?
And I wasn't looking forward to it because I was like, how do you get a concept like that and modernize it?
Mm-hmm.
But they managed to do it.
Elizabeth Banks.
I'm kind of excited.
Is Bosley.
Yeah.
Year of the gender swap.
I'm excited. I saw that trailer and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I was not excited for it until I was sitting in theaters and saw like the full theatrical trailer with and I was like, I actually don't mind Kristen Stewart. I don't know.
That's what I was like. I've never seen her
like,
in a role that's not cold and brooding before.
Yeah.
So
it'll be kind of cool to see her like put on different costumes and be like the face of the group and like you know,
it'll be funny watching them pull off heist missions and stuff where they are having to disguise themselves or change their voices or do something to break in somewhere. Those are the scenes that, you know, because they do all sorts of weird hijinks with that. It's fun. How fun.
How progressive.
Isn't that
women?
Fun?
Women on movies?
They're on movies.
Women just standing on a pile of movies.
Wow. What a time to be alive.
I never thought it would happen, but here we are.
Yeah, and what else we got? So Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, she's getting her own show with Vision.
WandaVision. I was like, Scarlet Vision?
And that's going to be a prequel series that you watch before the second Doctor Strange that they announced, called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
He'll be teaming up with Scarlet Witch, and it's going to be the MCU's first PG-13 movie, and they're saying that it's going to be like...
What have they been so far?
PG, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think any of them have been PG-13. I'll have to go back, though. I'm not confident.
Don't they, like, decapitate Thanos and...
Yeah, but he doesn't have traditional colored blood.
Fuck.
That's the rule. That's why all of the Avengers threats have been robots and aliens. Because if you fight actual people, then you're showing a real human getting decapitated or real blood, and then they... Yeah. But... what was I saying? It'll be the MCU's first horror film, which further pushes my thing that I was saying a while back of they filmed a horror movie in the X-Men universe called New Mutants, and it was slated to come out a while back, and Disney keeps postponing it, and I think they're just going to cut it. I don't think it's going to... If it releases, it's going to be a very hushed, thing.
Interesting.
I think this is going to be their... They also announced Fantastic Four and X-Men in the future, but they didn't give us any details. So that they announced so much. Marvel announced so much stuff. I saw that and I was like, "Oh, great!" Like, I didn't have that long of a period of time to not talk about Marvel stuff. There's Marvel stuff for the next 4 years.
So I haven't done any I kind of saw these announcements on Instagram yesterday, and I haven't done any due diligence, hard reporting on them to find out stuff. But part of me was also thinking all these things say 2021 and stuff like that. What is coming out this next year? Is there anything?
I think the next, or here I think I have a timeline.
Because Spiderman Far From Home just came out.
Yeah, I think we're not going to have any other Marvel movies until next year, I think.
Okay. So 2019 is done. That makes sense.
So we're going to have the first one that's going to come out next year is going to start off with Black Widow, then Eternals, and Shang-Chi.
Okay, so those three for next year.
I think so.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have Doctor Strange, Thor, uh, Doctor Strange and Thor for the year after. They announced Blade, but they said that
Yeah.
that's not part of Phase 4, and I don't know what that means.
Who
And
knows?
they also, and that doesn't include Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Black Panther 2,
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3. What else? I think those are the big three right now.
Yeah, the next Iron Man movie.
Yeah,
When's that one coming
they'll
out?
do it. They're gonna do Ironheart. It's only a matter of time.
So, both of the Spider-Man movies that have come out, both have the word home in them.
Yeah.
I think there's a code there. I think the next Spider-Man movie will also have to have home in it.
Home base.
I was thinking home run.
Homer Simpson.
Homer Simpson works, yeah.
Spider-Man, Homer Simpson.
They team up.
Disney owns both. Technically, it could happen.
No, it's so there's Homecoming, then there's Far From Home, and then now
Home stretch.
Homely.
After Spider-Man 3, Tom Holland's current contract with Marvel ends, so it will be his last movie, unless they extend it, which they did that with
I bet they
Robert
will.
Downey Jr. like 4 times. So
I bet they will because he. You can't plan that far ahead. I think so. They kind of plan as far ahead in the future as they can to see how popular things are.
yeah,
And now I have a feeling that he's being kind of like groomed to be the new face of the Marvel like cinematic universe at the current moment.
I can see that.
Just based on his popularity, the fan base he kind of brings, I think, is a little different than the regular Marvel fan base who already probably likes him.
Yeah,
It's like a little bit younger of a demographic, and then I think there's room for him to grow into it as well, rather than already being a little bit older and then being done with this project.
I mean, I think Spider-Man's on the top of everybody's minds right now. I mean, you had Spider-Verse, you had
Right.
that Spider-Man game, you had these Tom Holland Spider-Man movies that are knocking it out of the park.
Venom.
You had Venom. You won't know what hit him. Venom. You're gonna get him. So I think definitely keeping Spider-Man close, and I think if they let him go, Sony's not gonna let go again. Sony's realized the potential of Spider-Man, so Disney definitely has to keep this deal going with them.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is annoying.
I am so curious.
Annoying.
I'm so mad because it's like a love-hate thing, because if Disney had owned Spider-Man all this time, we would not have gotten Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That one, because it had to have taken a large room full of people like, how do we milk this one Marvel property that's not, and we can't link it to anything else? Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Brilliant idea, amazing style and everything, and that definitely wouldn't have happened if Disney had Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I hope that
That's true.
when Disney eventually gets Spider-Man, because it will happen, I don't know how, but it'll happen, I hope they keep Spider-Verse going. And I hope they don't reboot it or change the style or anything.
Well, so that's the thing for me is I don't need any more to that. Like, I would like to see it explored, sure, but it's not. I feel like for what we got in that movie, it's one of those things where the further you go, the worse you could ruin it. I just feel like the peak went so high, like in terms of like peaks and valleys. The peak was so high for watching it. There's not a lot, in my mind, a lot more room to go up.
I understand that. I think that it's a pretty tough gamble, because best case scenario, we get something on par, if not better, and life is perfect, or most likely it'll blow up in our faces and it'll be horrible. But I'm willing to put
an offshoot
chance.
movie, a spinoff. I don't know why I called it an offshoot. I'm from the 1940s.
They're doing an offshoot.
They're doing an offshoot. They do a spinoff.
They are.
With Peter Porker.
They did.
And that's it.
They did.
That's it.
Yeah, but they did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
They did. It's like a 15-minute short.
No, I mean like a whole movie.
Oh, they
And
should.
that's how they continue the entire series.
There you go.
Through his eyes.
It's first person.
It's it's
You see
first
from the
person,
perspective of Peter Porker.
and he interacts with no other spider people.
You know, I'd be fine with it if they kept John Mulaney as Spider-Ham. They just bring him in and he improv stuff. There's no
Yeah.
script. Hey, I'm a pig. Look at me.
But you can't because you're looking through his eyes.
Yeah.
So just to be
can see
very
his
clear,
hands.
you will not see this character and you will not see any other spider people, but you will see the
Like
world that he lives in.
If he sits down in a chair and kind of like looks down, you can see
Yeah.
his legs. But yeah, I think they're making a sequel to Spider-Verse, and they're making a spin-off featuring an all-female team.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I
That's what my female Ghostbusters fan account wants.
I'm looking forward to both, but I'm also very interested in hearing about what special scenario could they come up with that would only warrant the female variations of Spider-Man. Because if it's a world
They
crisis,
go to
why
the
wouldn't they?
female dimension.
Why wouldn't they want as many spider people as possible? Like, what scenario brought
Yeah.
them all together to? Why wouldn't they get Miles and Peter if
Maybe
they helped
they
out the
do.
first time?
And maybe they're girls.
Maybe they got kidnapped.
And gender swapped.
Why don't they have more fun with the properties they own? Because they own
Yeah.
Ghostbusters too. Why can't they have
Well,
Ghostbusters Spider-Man team up?
It's a risk system. It's a risk thing. You know, like the more risky you are, it could be successful, but it could also be awful.
I feel like just the idea would bring people in.
Yeah.
I remember they were talking about a 21 Jump Street Men in Black crossover
Interesting.
for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you just put as many franchise names in the title of your movie, you know, you're just guaranteed
You
to
just
have people.
you just shove those names in that title.
Yeah. Why don't they do that? Like, go crazy. I know that, like, as for toys, there is an Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters that it has its own Transformer. And it's just, why hasn't that crossover happened?
I mean, I think we grew up in a time where crossovers were like the thing. And I don't know if that happened necessarily before our generation as much, but I mean possibly, I don't know, but I'm just thinking of the Spyro Crash Bandicoot crossover games. I'm thinking of all the Timmy Turner, Jimmy Neutron crossover stuff. I'm thinking of the Disney did it a bunch. You know what I mean? Just all these crossovers of properties that they owned, and so I just feel like it was a hot thing to do for a while, and I'm sure even though the same company owns both of the properties, there's probably some nuances in each thing that makes it muddy and complicated, and how they put them together, and how things are showcased, and who gets paid, and that kind of thing, to where people are like, it's too much trouble. No, you know what I mean?
That reminds me. So, well, first of all, I saw the live action Lion King, or live action.
You saw real animals?
The fucking remake.
I love. Oh,
God damn it!
Wow, they were real. What did they feel like when you pet them? All the animals that you saw in real life. What did they smell like?
I had a dream, and I forgot it. I don't think I mentioned it, but it was a little over a week ago, and the dream was that I saw the Lion King, and there was this one vulture character who kept messing with Simba, and it was a bad guy, but wasn't the big bad guy. It was just kind of in the background and stuff. And in the end of my dream, I make it to the end of the movie, and I'm waiting for an after credit scene. An after credit scene happens, and this vulture, it shows Simba and everybody's happy, and then it zooms out, and you see that there's a mountaintop overviewing that scene, and the vulture's looking over, and then it magically transforms into a human, and the human's all the pieces are in place, And they're like, I will soon spread the darkness to this world. And then it cuts to like a Kingdom Hearts thing, and it teases a Kingdom Hearts crossover movie where Sora goes to all the live action
Oh, wow.
Disney worlds. And I woke up and I was very, very disappointed and upset.
Disappointed that it was a dream?
Yes.
Oh.
It would never happen.
No, never.
But could you imagine the Kingdom Hearts cinematic universe? All the live action recreated Disney movies are all being remade for the purpose of telling the story, the complicated story.
The only way that'll ever happen is if Disney buys Square Enix.
I think Disney has slowly been working at not, because Disney technically owns all the Kingdom Hearts characters.
Sure.
And that's why the Square Enix side of things have kind of been slowly been removed from 3. It could happen.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. Those are some... Did you come up with that?
I saw it on a poster. There was a sloth hanging from a tree.
Anything could happen.
Yep.
Nice.
So, we both saw Spider-Man.
Homerun.
Far From Homerun.
Far From Home.
Far From Home Base.
It's far out, man.
Spider-Man Far Out, and there's a peace sign next to it.
Far out, man.
So...
Far outside of home.
I guess let's do like a brief spoiler-free thing, just in case you don't want to be spoiled.
Okay.
So let's give... I'll go first. I'll give an initial rating. You give an initial rating.
Okay.
We'll talk very briefly about it, and then we'll move into spoilers.
Okay. Any special rating system we're going to give this one? Webs out of 10?
Yeah, sure.
10 pictures of Spider-Man out of 10.
I would give this movie... you and I have already talked at length about it, but I would give this an 8 out of 10.
Okay. I'd give this one an 8.5. 8.5 pictures of Spider-Man out of 10.
8.5 pictures. I give him 8 webs.
8 webs.
So there's 8 webs on top of 8.5 pictures. One of the pictures you cut in half with scissors.
Yeah. So. Well, I was thinking of like a picture of Spider-Man, but it's half of Spider-Man.
Oh, I thought you meant like you cut it.
No, it's half. Like Spider-Man had been in a horrible accident.
I think
someone snapped the picture right after. And it's a picture of half of Spider-Man.
I think overall that's a pretty good... I would agree with both of them. I mean, obviously I said one of them, but I would agree with yours as well.
Okay.
I think it's very good. I've already told you I really liked it. I thought it was awesome. I've since resolved my other small complaints about it. I still do have feelings, but I don't think they're that important.
That's too bad.
But there is that one line that I still take issue with. That's the one.
You went back and he actually said it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
He saw it. I don't know if you mentioned it, but Brian saw the movie twice.
I did, because I had some very, very small, like, overall I loved the movie, but there were small gripes I had with it, and I was talking with Andy about this, and I was like, I couldn't get... I mean, I obviously got my point across to you. You understood, but I just, like, couldn't get to you how... I couldn't communicate to you how irritating it was to me.
I was trying so hard to make you feel validated.
You did a good job.
But it was also just really... You were getting really worked up about it.
Yeah. Well, I was only getting worked up because...
And it was like, I understand. It's one of the few instances to where... And I have to call it out as I see it. But most of your complaints, I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. But there were one or two that I was like,
yeah,
that's a little too much.
Well,
that's a little too much for me.
Like I was saying, I was being very nitpicky because I had already told you I really liked it.
I get like that too.
So
it's
everything. I liked literally everything else. You know what I mean? So I was like, these are the only parts that I was like, that's a little cringy. That's a little,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I think it's always easier to remember the bad parts than the good parts,
right.
and it's very telling on how good the movie is if you walked out complaining about one line like that, or it's like, wow, if that's
Yeah.
your negative takeaway from it, then it must have been a good movie.
Yeah.
But I think, as for my kind of vague, spoiler-free synopsis of it, I think a lot of people left the first Spider-Man movie saying, wow, Spider-Man is super close with Iron Man, and I don't like that. I want him to be his own thing. I think this movie does a great job at it. Doesn't separate Spider-Man from Iron Man completely, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a stepping stone to where the next movie, Spider-Man, will be a lot more independent. And kind of Spider-Man is slowly kind of making a name for himself as far as movies go. He's more of a headliner now, and I think that was really neat. I think
Yeah.
supporting cast was great, villain was great, after credit teaser as all is. I mean, it is one
That
hell
was-
of an after credits teaser to have after Endgame.
I have not been, because it used to be a thing where you were excited to see at the end of every standalone, character movie, you were excited to see Nick Fury be like, I need you for the Avengers.
Yeah, or Thanos.
Yeah, and then that slowly like lost its magic because
Yeah.
it just was like, all right, I expect it. There's nothing really cool about this.
Well, everyone knows like the Phase 4 plans. And
Right.
Like people know what movie's gonna happen next.
Right. But this after credit scene, so we can talk about this after we spoil
Yeah.
the movie because I think it's better to talk about this after. But it was very shocking. I was like, wow.
It was.
That was surprising to me that they went that hard that quick.
I cannot imagine. It's really weird because I feel like I play right into. I think a bunch of Marvel executives are in a room like, oh, these idiots are just gonna eat this up.
Yeah.
And I did. And every time,
And I had my fucking fork and knife ready to go.
please. But after each Marvel movie, I unironically am just like, man, what's gonna happen next? I can't. What? I can't wait.
Well, right now we don't have like a big bad anymore to.
Yeah. And that's kind of cool. We get to kind of go see some individual adventures before Galactus shows up.
Sure. So it's kind of nice to, you're not, I don't know. It's a little more mysterious right now than.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so moving into the spoiler section.
We're going to spoil. We left our reviews out for a while, and they're about to get spoiled.
So we start, the movie starts, I think, on a little slideshow. It's funny.
Like a really shitty movie maker.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a pixelated picture of Vision. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. Go into a newscast. They're giving you an exposition dump, which I didn't love, but it's fine. It's comedic.
I think it was a good way to just kind of
Yeah.
be like, hey, everyone, Endgame just happened. That was crazy. This isn't Endgame. This is a new
Right.
thing. We're addressing the super fast, so we
Right.
can not mention it for the rest of the movie.
I think I had less issues with, because what I was describing to you, I think I knew there was a comedic tone, but I think it just wasn't hitting for me all the time. And so watching it the second time, I felt a little better about it. Like the comedy in places I saw it was actually like making me laugh a little bit more the second time. But anyway, they tell you about they call it the blip, where people went away for 5 years, and then, anyway, whatever. So people come back. The Avengers brought them back 8 months ago, is what they say.
It has been 8 months?
It's been 8 months. They are finishing this school year that they had to restart because of the blip,
Okay.
which is what everyone calls the Thanos snap.
Well, I think there are two names for it. They call it the decimation, which is when everyone, and this is in lore, we all call it the snap, but the decimation is when Thanos is snapped and everyone disappeared, and the blip is when everyone popped back up.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just thinking like, oh, the blip is both, but
Yeah.
it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. But
Yeah, I get
when
what
else
you're
would
saying.
when else would that information come in
That's-
handy?
this
so
is
I
the
needed
only
to,
time, yeah.
Yeah, so I needed to say that because otherwise that knowledge is just sitting in my brain, not doing anything.
So fast forward, they're all going on a school trip. They're going to basically a trip across Europe. They start out in Rome, I think.
Italy.
Italy. They start out in Italy. Uh, anyway, long story short, there are these elementals that are breaking free out of the earth and are from a different planet, whatever.
Another universe.
Sure. They're attacking the planet. Oh no. Fire, wind, earth, water.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you
uh,
remember?
so, they're attacking the earth. This hero, which Spider-Man's classmates dub Mysterio, is on the scene. He's fighting them. You find out that he's working with Nick Fury, and then Spider-Man is being, recruited by Nick Fury in this movie, which I guess in my mind, like, it already happened. So I was like, oh, all right, I guess it hasn't happened. He throws the line out there.
He was kind of informally dragged into the fray by Iron Man, and this is his first official, like...
Now that Iron Man is
business.
no more,
He is no more.
He is no more.
He is no more. He's gone.
Anyway, Mysterio is this great hero. Iron Man bonds with him. Spider-Man bonds with him.
Iron Man is no more, Brian. He is no more.
But he does make an appearance in this movie. Spider-Man bonds with him. Spider-Man is having this very internal struggle where he feels as if now he is going to have to take over for Iron Man, but he's just a teenager and he can't do it.
He's
and all
just
these
a kid
people
and
expect
life is a nightmare.
All these people just expect too much from him, and so Mysterio is like, "Hey, it's hard. I think you can do it." He's very encouraging, almost like a father figure, which is kind of what Spider-Man's missing right now. So it's very touching in these moments.
Oh.
Until you find out Mysterio has been evil the whole time.
What?
Gotcha. Such a trick.
His dirty... It was a stupid April trick.
Stupid April trick. But...
He has a bag of tricks.
He and his accomplices have all worked for... And this you can talk about this part because you liked it a lot.
So, the big reveal that Mysterio is the bad guy, you find out that the elementals are not real and they are illusions created by these drones that create holograms that are seen in Captain America Civil War when Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, is doing the therapy session and he calls the holographic... He abbreviated it and called it BARF. It shows that scene and the camera pans over and you see Jake Gyllenhaal in the back and he's super mad that he called it BARF. Gyllenhaal. I don't know.
Continue.
Don't look at me like that. Oh, also, brief pause on everything. I used the word stupider in the last episode of the podcast, and I just want to address this. Stupider is not a word, and it's been bugging me ever since I was listening to it.
Interesting. I didn't know.
I was listening to the episode, and I heard myself use the word stupider, and I was like, God damn it. And I think about that a lot. That keeps me up at night. So,
well, that's my ringtone, coincidentally.
I know it's not a word. Anyways, but it was just super cool to see that, like, the holographics in Civil War, it was Mysterio the whole time. And then his, like, number 2 person was the guy that Jeff Bridges was yelling at in Iron Man 1. You're like, oh, that's so cool. It's so neat to have little payoffs like that, especially when it's not expected. It's just a little surprise of, it's just like a little treat. Here you go. And it also saves a little bit of time on, all right, I kind of know what this guy's deal is. I know what he did, and I get it. You don't have to go through this whole, like, this is an entirely new character, and this is where they were in all these events. Right. It's like, this was where he was. That's what happened. Oh, okay. I can move on. So that was really cool. Marvel's really good at doing that. They did that a lot in Endgame, too. And I was just like, ugh, bringing people back, please.
Well, you find out he's evil. Spider-Man takes down the drones. Spider-Man ends up getting more in tune with himself. This whole movie, he's kind of had another struggle where he hasn't been able to use his Spidey sense, which everyone calls the Peter Tingle. And he kind of gets it back at the end. He's able to see through the illusions, or at least sense through them.
It's interesting how both Spider-Man 2s involve Peter having problems with his spider sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of a comic book. It's hard because you give him this almost omniscient power, so sometimes you have to take it away for him to
Have a
be
challenge.
right. Because
Or have a lesson to learn.
otherwise he could have just been doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
So anyway, he takes down Mysterio, who is out of his. He's just in this like motion capture suit. Turns out, Mysterio shot a gun at him because he wasn't where he wasn't dead on the ground like Spider-Man thought.
Okay, wait. Let's do a brief pause.
Okay.
Or not pause, but I'm pausing you. Because
Okay.
before this, he fights Mysterio, and Mysterio does this like Doctor Strange-esque illusion thing while he's fighting Spider-Man. And I just wanted to say that because that was even cooler than the whole Doctor Strange thing, and that was really neat. You want to continue?
All right. So, all right, cool.
Yeah, you missed. That's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, but it's more visual. It's like it is nice, but it's something you want to see. So definitely go watch the movie.
Well,
But
yeah.
I'm not gonna describe. He was in a hallway and it's dark, and then anyway.
Well, hey, this is for people who've seen the movie and there's spoilers.
Well, then they know about it already.
Get the fuck out of here.
Don't
hate you,
criticize me. Anyway, he ends up beating Mysterio. He gets in tune with himself. He finds, I guess, self-confidence. He gets with MJ. It's all very happy.
Yeah.
Until the end credits.
Yeah.
Would you like to describe
Yeah.
that?
Okay. Well. Okay. Well, there's three main bullet points here. The first one is while he's swinging, there's a big billboard behind him, and it says 1, 2, 3. You won't believe what happens next. So either it's teasing the Fantastic Four, which what if the Baxter building or like they build the Stark Tower is the new headquarters, or the construction that they were doing is the new Fantastic Four. Anyways, so or it's probably a tease for Marvel Phase 4, but who knows. So that's the first takeaway. Second takeaway is J. Jonah Jameson shows up, and he's played by none other than the definitive Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons. He's back, and they kind of did what they did with the Spider-Man video game, where the Daily Bugle is an online podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it can't
blog.
be a,
Yeah,
newspapers
are dead. But
print anyway,
yeah, print is dead. But he's like an Alex Jones screaming to a mic, and then you find out that Mysterio had used a series of clips that he filmed of Spider-Man during their encounter and framed it in a way that made Spider-Man look like the bad guy. And you're like, oh, wow, people hate Spider-Man. I guess that's it. And then he just straight up is like, oh, hey, everyone, Spider-Man's Peter Parker, and shows a picture of Peter Parker's face to everybody.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's the end. So,
that's the end.
Wowie pizzowie.
And then another end credit scene. Oh no, Nick Fury the whole time has been one of the guys from Captain Marvel.
The Skrulls.
Yeah.
Skrull.
And he was shapeshifted, and
real
Nick Fury's in front of a hologram beach looking for his shoes.
And he's like in a space.
Yeah.
He's in outer space with a bunch of Skrulls. He's set up. I think it's a tease for Sword, which is like it's like there's Shield and then there's Sword, and Sword's like I think it's they defend like the solar system or something. It's like a space version of Shield.
To me it was one of my things watching it a second time that I did have it's not a problem with the movie. I just increasingly like Nick Fury less and less.
I think that's the problem and he doesn't have a big role in the movies other than like he's what initially tied everyone together in the beginning,
right?
And that's why it was so cool to see him, because it's like
just right. And at this point, it's almost like he's feigning being this like badass, and I get it's not lost on me that the entire movie it's been someone else shapeshifted acting as him. So that makes it a little more tolerable. Like, okay, this is someone like kind of putting on the persona of him, so it's like a little more over the top. But I'm tired of the character. I'm tired of
I honestly think he needs his own movie.
that would be
He needs
fine,
he
but I
needs a
just
reason to be relevant
I
now, because he's
yeah
not really. Shield isn't a thing anymore. He isn't an Agents of Shield.
yeah
He's not fighting for Shield in any of the movies. He's usually just running around independently, helping solve problems. Like
yeah.
in the like what team was he working with? He wasn't
I
with
don't
Shield.
I just it's
he needs to be relevant. Like, but I understand what you're saying. Like his character's kind of just one note.
well, and
every
in
time.
in this movie specifically, he is harsh on Spider-Man a lot. He's like super harsh because he's trying to get Spider-Man to be he's trying to get him to, I guess, through some tough love, realize that he is strong and he is he's a superhero, and so he's trying to nail that, get that through to him, and it comes off as like an abusive father almost. Like it's just kind of like hard to listen to sometimes.
I think
I'm
they
like,
could have
ugh.
phrased it better too, because I was kind of thinking, why can't Nick Fury handle it if he's so experienced? But
yeah,
I think where he's coming from is, hey, you're one of the few people here with superpowers.
I get it.
I need you to do this.
I 100% understand.
And he should have. Maybe I need to see it again, but because maybe he did say that. But that's what he should have said if he didn't. Like, yo, you have superpowers, so you are more equipped to handle this situation than I, a normal man who can see in one dimension.
Well,
or two dimensions.
So Spider-Man asks earlier in the movie, like, hey, don't you have like other people who could help? Because there's a lot of people that have been around fighting, and the excuses that he gives isn't really like, I get it's more of a comedic thing. Like, I think he asks for Thor first.
They have to cover their bases too.
Yeah, and I think at the end he's like, what about Captain Marvel? He's like, don't invoke her name. And it's like, it's annoying to me just because I think I don't like Nick Fury, and so I'm like, just give him like a real answer why they're not able to be there. It's shitty of you to like gaslight him and treat him like an asshole, and then he's asking you legitimate questions like, hey, can't another hero do this? Like, can I be a kid? And he's just being a dick about, I don't know. I didn't like it.
I think our time talking about Spider-Man is kind of coming to a close. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the weather in Beaufort, South Carolina. It's 89 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Precipitation's at 0, humidity 60%, and wind 14 miles an hour. Although the icon is a rain cloud, so there might be some clouds over there. It's not going to be. It's warm. I'm not going to lie, Brian. It's warm over there. On Monday, July 22nd, 2019.
Gotcha.
In Beaufort, South Carolina. So, take that information with what you will. Take some sunglasses with you, Throw on some sunscreen if you're like me. Be careful out there. E7?
E7 is a miss.
God damn. Okay.
I'm going to go with B9.
Miss. Wow, you have a hit and then you have a miss.
A hit and a miss.
I'm surprised that you didn't
continue on that same path.